What's up, everybody? That time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
Once again.
You are listening to us live from the Ultimate Ears studio. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
And this is the good,
the band,
and the ugly. And the emphasis
on ugly.
On the ugly. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Almost like we're fucking professionals.
Easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Easy peasy.
How you doing, brother?
Oh, just wonderful.
Week's been good?
Sure.
Yeah?
Why not?
Well, by the time this comes out, you can be lying about it. Man, Sharky's Event Center just blowing up.
I know. It's crazy.
On a Tuesday.
Tuesday, of all things.
800 people.
That's it. And it started at 3.
3 o'clock on a Tuesday. That's 800 people without jobs, apparently.
Right.
Holy shit.
Living off of you and I.
Dude, I stopped over there to talk to him about next year's endorsement. Jim. Signed the contract, Jim.
Sign it, Jim.
And I was amazed. Yeah. I said, that. You know what, though? That was us at that age.
Yeah.
Just, looking like this.
Right. Much dapper.
See, kids, this is what you can look like when you're something years
when
old.
You're in the 50s.
So, hey, we have a great show today. We have, speaking of all those kids that listen to all that music, we have a guy on that's been doing the music for a long time.
Yes.
And he's the guy that knows how to fade things in and out correctly.
Maybe he could train us.
And make no.
Okay.
We could train a monkey to fuck a football, but we can't train us to do shit. I'm just saying right now.
Weird.
So, without further ado and ruining the surprise, let's ask our guest, Mr. Tom Fletcher, to join the Ultimate Ears studio.
Come on in, sir.
Ultimate Ears, where you can hear your own tears.
Hi there, friends and neighbors.
How y'all doing?
What's up?
Good, man. How's it going, guys?
Great. What?
The most enthusiastic,
I
awesome guest before he's
so
even
far.
been on.
I know.
Yeah, and
it's awesome.
Another Tortora referral.
Yeah.
I love Jeff.
Jeff, we call Jeff.
Well, who doesn't?
Jeff Beetlejuice Tortora, because
if you say his name 3 times, he'll pop in.
He
somewhere.
shows up on some band.
It just
It's like, so who's your drummer? Oh, we have a drummer by the name of Jeff Tortora.
Right.
And he's from the Blue Band Group. And I'm like, well, is he the only working guy in Vegas?
I think so.
Yeah, man. Vegas is off the hook right now, to tell you the truth.
Dude, everybody's doing some good shit out there.
Yeah. I moved here during COVID. And because my mom, we've had a house here with her for a while, and I just didn't want her to be alone, that kind of thing. And I came here going, what the hell am I going to do in Vegas? And it's just been amazing. It's kind of like L.A. was back in 1984. There's bands everywhere. There's cool clubs happening. There's starting to be this, where everyone kind of gets together. I don't know. To me, it feels like L.A. 1984.
Are there flyers are there flyers all over the all the posts and stuff?
Starting to happen, just like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not handing out the hooker flyers are not being handed out.
Band
now
flyers.
Believe it or not, they're not.
Yeah.
And and there's a club here, the Copa, that Ron Mancuso owns, the bootlegger that does killer rock shows, and of course Danny Coker has Vamped, which does incredible rock shows.
Yes.
It's just really turning into a real cool scene here, man.
Yeah,
cool.
Every time I see the stuff that Stoney's doing with Count 77.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Morrow is doing some stuff out there. Ben's a friend of the show.
Yep.
Nina Di Gregorio is another friend of the show. Another Jeff Tortora band.
Another one that he's in.
And now Mr. Young and Mr. Tortora are doing their
little soiree together.
Their trio with I don't know if we can even announce it yet, but
I don't even
killer female bass player.
Yeah.
That's coming out. So there's some just good shit.
Yeah.
It's almost like the West Coast version of Nashville, because Nashville's going crazy with rock.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
good.
a lot of guys down there.
Nashville's a little different because it's like a sealed tuna can. You know what I mean? You gotta. It's cliquish, man. You gotta get in there in the right way.
Or you're gonna get cut.
Here it's like L.A. was, where it's like you're just meeting cool new people. The thing about Ron's place over at the Bootleggers, he's got the Club the Copa, but then right next door is the restaurant, the Italian restaurant, and then all the studios. So it's kind of like a mini Rainbow next to the Roxy kind of vibe.
Okay.
It's really,
That's cool.
yeah, it's like a new scene starting, and it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Nice.
So before we started rolling,
Yeah.
we can't say rolling tape anymore.
No.
Before we started digitally recording,
Right.
There you go.
you have ties to Central New York.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So tell
My
our
family-
local fans.
My mom is from Depew. My mom's whole family is from Depew, and my mom and dad were both singers. My dad's passed away, but my mom is still here, strong as ever. But she and my dad were singers here on the Strip, and then they started doing touring. So my brother and I had to go stay in Depew, and I ended up going to third grade in Cleveland Hill in Cheektowaga.
Wow. You know how
That's
you
crazy.
pass?
So, yeah.
You know how you pass the third grade there? You can spell
No.
Cheektowaga.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spell it.
I actually used to go ditching and fish in Cayuga Creek.
There you
Oh,
go.
all right. Okay. Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, giving away the stuff nobody knew back then.
Well, you know,
That's all
Anyway,
right.
it
yeah.
stays on your permanent record, Tom.
You know what's funny? So my brother and I, obviously being from Vegas, we had not seen snow at that point in our lives. And we got there pretty much 2 weeks before the snow season. And our lucky first snow was a lake effect snow. So there was like
Oof.
8 feet of snow out there.
Yep.
We were loving it until we had to dig the car out to go to school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you're like,
Then it
Yeah.
was,
why are we going to school in this? That's
Right.
shut up.
yeah,
Stop
Get in the car. Let's go.
Yeah. Stop being a snow pussy and get out there and shovel that
Yeah.
shit.
Jesus, I tell you, man. It was a lot. But yeah, I loved it. I learned a lot. I actually learned a whole new way of being out there in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It changed.
Well,
changed us
and now look
forever.
behind you.
I know, right?
Look behind
Yeah,
you on your
exactly.
wall. A
Yeah,
snow
a
scene.
snow scene.
Buddy, that's because I live for it. I live to ski. So I worked my whole life to support my ski habit. So,
Oh,
Nice.
cool. There you go.
Nice.
yeah.
So give us a rundown. Let our listeners know what you do. We know what you do,
Right.
and we know, but we're going to ask what you do. What are you known for? But we know this is such an impressive resume.
It is too.
It's you should.
It's
Should be
first off,
wearing a
my
crown.
My discography is the weirdest thing you'll ever see because it's so not categorized, right?
Right.
I'm a recording engineer, producer, mixer, and I also love doing live. I still do a lot of live as well. I love live mixing, but it's I've done everything. It's crazy. My discography goes from Ozzy Osbourne to Hillary Duff, and everything in between. I don't think
All
it
right.
gets weirder than that.
All right. So how did you get into it? Because you're not a podcast guy, so these
Right.
aren't questions that every's asked
It's
you.
it's my very first one.
And
Awesome.
we are honored
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
be that we're taking your podcast virginity.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, you sure are.
you never
sure are.
forget your
You
first,
guessed it.
Tom.
Right. You never forget your
You
first.
Never forget your first. We're gonna walk across. We're gonna be. Look at even the
Yeah,
phone
see what
passed
that
out.
That made me pass out right there, man.
Awesome.
I was like, oh shit. Okay, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep. You're gonna be doing a podcast someday, and we're gonna walk by and be like, "That cheating son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's cheating on us."
Cheating on us again.
It was bad enough we were his first. We have to be his only.
Hey, just because you've had dinner doesn't mean you can't look at the menu. You know.
Yeah,
what I'm
well,
Right.
we are now in a podcast relationship, and that's it.
Yeah,
We're committed.
Yeah.
saying? I'm loving it. Yeah.
So what got you doing this? Did you go to school for music or for engineering? What sound engineering?
Well, I'm an old guy, so back in those days, we didn't really have schools for engineering. It was
Right.
you just had to have a way of working your way in, and I was very lucky in that my parents are both singers, like I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a band here in Vegas, and the drummer, guy named Hank Castro, was actually the studio manager for Paul Anka and Chips Davis.
Oh wow!
And they had the first 24-track recording studio here in Vegas called Vegas Recording Studio. And my mom was on tour because she's a country singer, and she would tour with Freddie Fender, Roy Clark, Buck Owens, stuff like that. So she's out on tour. So obviously my dad had to take care of us. So I had to go everywhere my dad went. And they were switching out a console. They had an old Stevens console, and they were switching it out for a brand new MCI JH428. And I had to go down with them. I was like 12. And so I'm at the studio, and, like, okay, here we are. So I just started wandering around while they're doing all that, and I smelled some weed. And I followed my nose to the back. And that back there, I busted the techs and the other engineers. They were listening to, like, the band and smoking weed. And I just, that whole thing, I was like, wait a minute, do you guys get paid to be here doing that? So when we left that day, I said, whatever I need to do, can I come and hang out down here? And Hank said, listen, if you want to empty the trash and clean the bathrooms, yeah, we'll teach you what's going on. Let's see how you do that first. And I never left. I've been at it ever since. Man. I've been in studios every day of my life since I was 12.
If you watched it, that's kind of the way John Bon Jovi started too.
Well,
he was working in a producer's, I think it was his brother or his uncle or something.
I didn't watch the first.
You didn't watch
the first episode of his 5 episodes.
Yeah. It's funny. Years later. This has to be only 5 or 10 years ago. I saw Paul at a thing. He was managing this awesome girl who had a great band, but I was there, and I mean, across the room, he's like, I gave that guy his start.
Right?
It was very cool, for me. I was just like, wow, that was really neat,
Yeah, right.
So you're learning, and like you said, School of Hard Knocks back in the day, especially for sound engineers or guys running live, they were usually like the kid brother or the roadie that's, all right, you set up my shit, now go run the sound because we can't afford anybody else. So that's, and you're learning as you're developing your ear. At what point?
Absolutely.
At what point did you say, take the training wheels off? I'm ready to do this shit on my own.
Do you know what's great? What was amazing about Vegas studio was every night at 7:00, every musician, they all split. They all had gigs on the Strip. So here I am, 14 years old, with the keys to a recording studio. And my friends who I grew up with were Mike Sherwood and Billy Sherwood, who Billy's in Yes now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And a lot of great friends who are all players. We were all kids and musicians on the Strip, so we all had, we had bands and stuff. But I'd sneak the band in there. After everybody split, it was like, well, let's go for it. So we'd stick mics on shit and start recording it. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just figuring it out as we go.
Cool
but
shit.
We'd also, crank Black Sabbath records and Zeppelin records and Kansas and Toto. We'd just, cranking in the big Uris, which we didn't know it at the time. But, that was an incredible learning process because we were learning how to critically listen while sitting in there and cranking your favorite records.
Right.
And Mike Sherwood, God rest his soul, we lost Mike a couple years ago, unfortunately. But Mike was one of those guys who was always going, man, listen to that bass part. And they're like, oh, I never really thought. That's what a bass does. You know what I mean? It's like he'd be pointing out parts, and it was like a music theory class. We just didn't realize we were in it.
Right.
So we were the luckiest bunch of fuckers you ever saw.
Well, like I said, it's that School of Hard Knocks, and you can't teach somebody. No, you can't teach them to have an ear. They have to develop an ear for engineering, for running live, especially running live. Anybody can look and watch meters and lights and go, okay, channel 6 is peaking out. No fucking idea why. Don't I have any idea what frequency we're at? And it's the guys that sit back and go, okay, this is what's going to work in this room. This isn't going to work.
And I was really lucky, again, because Chips Davis, was there all the time, and who was amazing. Guy changed my life. And there was an engineer named Scott Spain who used to do like Shaka Khan and Rufus and stuff, who ended up coming and working for us. But the one thing they very early pounded into my brain was gain structure. Okay. And, I'll thank them for the rest of my life, because that's the secret to engineering, period, is gain structure, right? Once your gain structure is correct, you can start manipulating stuff without peeking out those red lights.
Right. And taking advantage of what these are meant to do.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100%. I remember my scariest thing was funny. We got one of the early 1176s, and I was a kid. I didn't know what the hell a compressor was doing. And I saw the meter going backwards. You know what I mean? I'm like, why is the meter going the wrong way?
Right.
Of course, later learned what that was all about. But I remember seeing that going, man, I don't know if I know what to do with that thing.
What's this button do?
Exactly. Which one of these buttons do I push for your mother to come and pick you up?
Yeah, right.
It's basically what we were doing.
Right. What the fuck is phantom power? I have no idea what that means.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. And why?
Yeah.
Why, yeah. And
right.
why?
And you're just, if I turn it on, it buzzes a lot. So let's turn it off.
Exactly.
Trust me.
Absolutely. So that's my beginnings, and it's like I always had that dream of moving to LA and becoming a producer engineer. Always having everybody at school saying, man, you better have a plan B.
Right.
And I had learned from Chips and those guys that don't have a plan B, because you won't try to achieve plan A.
Right.
It's like, okay,
that, you know what? It's a great way to put it, because the people that won't take no for an answer, or just won't take I don't want to say failure. The people that accept that accept that my journey to the top of the hill might take more steps than yours, but I'm still making it. You may have a bigger stride, but you're going to rest along the way, and then you're going to see me like the tortoise, slowly passing right by you, and be like, "See ya, fucker."
Plugging away
Gotta run.
Baby.
Yeah. So, good for you for what you've done. I mean, so give us a little discography. I know you said from Ozzy to this one and to
Hillary,
to Hillary, but who did you work with the most?
Well, good. I've been I'm going to knock on some wood here. I've been a lucky kid, man.
You did some Toto too, didn't you?
I worked for Toto for quite a long time, actually. They were the beginning of our story. I mean, actually, myself and Billy Sherwood and Jimmy Hahn and a few of us, everything to those guys, man. I still wouldn't be able to explain why or how in the beginning. We moved from Vegas to LA in '82. A band called Logic.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up rehearsing at Leeds, because the manager that signed us was pretty hip, and he was like, the band was amazing, right? The guys were all just amazing players. So they put us in Leeds, who we accidentally ended up being rehearsing right next door to Toto. They hadn't finished Toto 4 yet. And the band, we were pretty much like a mini Toto, because we had 2 keyboard players, Guy Allison Steiner, who ended up being with the Doobie Brothers, and I could go on and on.
Right.
Phenomenal player. But we had 2 keyboard players, and it was kind of like a mini Toto without trying to be. It was just, that's what we ended up doing. They heard us through the walls. One day there was outside our door was Steve Lukather, Steve Porcaro. Actually, it was Jeff Porcaro, Steve Lukather. Sorry again. David Page, Steve Porcaro, Jeff Porcaro. And they're leaning outside the door, and our crew guy came in, and he's like, sorry. Sorry about the phone thing there. So our guy came in, he's like, there's these 3 guys standing out there that want to know if it's okay if they come in. And I was like, do you know who those guys? He was British, he didn't know. He's like, no, who's that? I was like, yeah, do me a favor. Go out and let them know they can come. And they came in, and we're back, man. They just treated us so good, right? And Luke was freaking out over Jimmy, and all those guys. They just were amazing. And next thing I know, Jeff was asking me, "Do you do this in the studio?" Because I was doing all the live stuff. I said, "Yeah, that's what I actually do." He's like, "Hey man, I need you to go over and work with my brother and Dave. Can you?" And he set me up over at the Manor. man, that's a really funny story. You want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So Jeff, this drummer, Jody Cortez, tells me, Jeff wants you to go to the Manor. So I go to the Manor. I knock on the front door, which was slightly ajar, and it kind of swung open. Nobody said shit. So I walk into this room. Right to the right of the front door is this TV room. It's a while ago, right? It's like 1980, the middle of 84. So I walk in there. They're all watching The Empire Strikes Back. They got a video of it, right? Back in those days, to have a video, that shit was very unusual.
Right.
And they're all sitting in there watching. And I kind of walked in there, and nobody said one fucking word to me. I think Steve Picaro looked up at me and kind of went, "Amen." And that was all she wrote. I stood there for about 10, 15 minutes, and I just started thinking, man, am I blowing it? I should just split. I left.
Oh, wow.
I did not tell you. I was like 20 years old. So anyway, we go back to rehearsal at Leeds that week, and Jody Cortez comes in and goes, "Dude, what the fuck? What's up?" He's like, "Jeff pissed, man." It's like, "What?" He's like, "He said you never showed up over there." I was like, "No, man." And I told them the story. Jeff took a knee. He was laughing so hard. And he was like, "You know what, man? I'm going to say, go back over there tonight, okay?" And then, the rest is history. I went back over there, and Dave and Steve were unbelievable. Dave and Steve took me into the studio. I ended up being like the guy at the Manor, one of the guys at the Manor for years.
That's
doing all kinds of stuff. Then I got to work with, I met amazing people, and it really was the beginning of my career.
That's
really.
awesome.
And then after that whole thing, I ended up working with Luke for like 5.5 years, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But yeah, those guys were the ones that really, our band was really out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily they recognized it. And, they ended up producing our first record, which was called Logic, Lodgic. And we got signed to A&M, and Dave and Steve produced it. And I engineered it along with Tom Knox, Greg Ladoni. Man, I was a lucky little fucker, man. I'll tell you that.
That's awesome. No, I mean, seriously,
these cats. Yeah, I of course everything. Nico Bolas was part of that too. Wow. Nico is like one of my mentors, man. That guy. I owe all those names we just talked about. Those are the people I owe my entire career to.
That's awesome.
So do you play keyboards?
I'm a bass player.
Okay.
I played cello first. And I'm a bass player. I play drums, guitar, little keys, enough to write,
Yeah.
And play. I actually had a band called The Atomics back in like 2014, and I played rhythm guitar and sang lead vocals and that. So had my fun. We had a blast too, opening up for Ben Carey from Lighthouse.
Really
fun shit.
That's good shit.
So that was incredible. Anyway, sorry about that. I can go off.
No,
that's fine.
And keep, Tom, keep in mind this is about you.
Yeah.
For our people to sit back and go, "No shit, that guy did what?"
Right.
So we want people to know.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, the fact that your mom sang with country royalty back in the day, fucking Buck Owens, Roy Clark. I grew up.
Freddie Fender.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching.
Hee-haw.
Not that I wanted to watch Hee-Haw.
Really?
Yeah. No, dude, we're the same there. I hated Hee-Haw. My mom was on it. You know what I mean?
So here's the funny part. So like in the 70s, when I'm forced to watch Hee-Haw, your mom's on the show.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
yeah. I wanted to listen to Genesis and Black Sabbath. And did you know what's funny? My mom, her record was recorded at Buck Owens Studio in Bakersfield with Billy Sherrill producing. Of course, at that time, I didn't want to know shit about it. I wanted to do my rock stuff. Now, later, actually earlier than this, but later, you grow up and go, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
Right.
Roy Clark, all these cats, these were the cats, It's like now I appreciate the hell out of them.
Yes.
I do too now.
You don't know.
I do too.
No.
And watching old videos
of Hee-Haw?
of Hee Haw or just Roy Clark or Buck Owens playing.
Yeah.
Just watching them play guitar, I'm like,
oh my God,
they're touching his guitar like they
lightning.
But it was
like,
with the
Glenn
ease, with the
another
ease,
one,
with the ease like BB King.
Yeah,
BB King just would rip through. Never see a look of concern. Like, he's just I'm just jamming because this is what my fingers automatically do. Roy Clark and those guys were the same way.
It's funny you mentioned Roy Clark because I came across some old video of him being like, "I'm going to teach you guitar."
That boy could burn,
and I'm like, "No, you can't," because and he's starting out. I mean, God, it had to have been late 70s, I would assume.
Yeah.
You know, and he is talking about, okay, you put your finger here and do this and do that, and all of a sudden he just rips into something. I'm like, no.
Oh,
right.
Dude, maybe you should watch that video again.
I know.
Yeah, Glenn Campbell was the same thing, man.
Yeah, Glenn Campbell.
Shit,
yeah.
This guy's playing Al Di Meola riffs like they're nothing. You're like,
right.
Holy shit.
Exactly. And you would have never known unless you were sitting there watching it.
He just
absolutely, because they knew how to be simple and play the stuff that they knew was going to sell records.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
And then, like you said,
I think it was Steve Perry that said. I think he actually said this to Trevor Lukather, maybe. He said, "Let me ask you a question. Who do you want sitting in the front row when you play shows? Do you want chicks or you want dudes?" He's like, "Well, I want chicks." He goes, "Well, then you need to play those melodies the girls want to hear. If you're burning, it's all dudes in the front row."
Right. Yeah.
Man, that is
it's like going to see like G3 with Satriani, Petrucci, and and Phil Collin from Def Leppard. It's like all dudes,
all dudes. Yngwie,
absolutely.
All dudes.
Dude, I did a lot of Yngwie.
Yeah.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah, I did Eclipse. I did.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? No, I love Yngwie. I love the guy.
What is he like what does he like to work with?
Well, it depends on what period. When I did Eclipse, he was still single, and it was insane. I could tell stories that you just wouldn't believe.
Sure.
Helicopters flying over his house, cops. So, oh my God.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I definitely said, wow, I'm really in the rock industry now.
Right.
But after he got married and he had a kid and he just became the adult that he is, he's so great, man. He's funny as hell. He can tell you any Monty Python skit. He can recite it from top to bottom.
Oh my God.
And he's just a great guy. He's really funny, man. I know I love him. I've always gotten along with him very well. Well, I love when I don't see him for a while. I love when I get to see him.
It's cool.
It's cool to hear that because everybody has had different encounters,
experiences.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll tell you them too. I've had him. They tell me, "Oh, I was an asshole when I was a kid, man."
Yeah.
He's like, but he did say to me, "What do you expect? I'm this kid from Sweden. I'm over here getting all this rock star treatment." He's like, I didn't know any better.
Right.
So
we kid about it where there was an incident. Friends of mine, I was working for a radio station years ago and got some backstage passes for friends back when it was just a sticker, and they were thrilled because Yngwie was a god to these guys, and they walk up and they're like getting an autograph, and he goes, how do you get your chops just so clean and so fast? And he says, from signing autographs for fucking people like you, and he hands it to him. And my friend was like, never meet your hero moment, and he just like ripped up the autograph and threw it. He's like, fuck you.
If he would have laughed, he would have realized that's just Yngwie's sense of humor.
Right.
And if you can't take it, then fuck you. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Didn't mean that to.
No, you're good.
But,
dude, have you been listening to us?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you, look, that guy, when I did the first, I mixed live in Leningrad before I met Yngwie. And that was how I ended up doing the Eclipse record. But the first time we were doing guitar solos, this is way before Pro Tools, so you still had to punch in and shit.
Yeah.
Man, I'd punch in, and when he'd start playing, I was so blown away. I just forget to punch out. I just let him keep playing because I was just in awe.
Sure.
Like, holy shit, man. I mean, he is he is everything you've ever heard as far as playing, man. That boy. I actually got to do Concerto in C with him, which is him with a full orchestra.
Oh,
that
wow.
was priceless.
Okay. Yeah.
Priceless, because he shows up, and I hope I tell this right. Yngwie will kill me if I don't, but he'll let me know if I don't too. He walked in his tails with his ruffled shirt, and he's a consummate rock star. And his march lamp stashed in the back, and the whole orchestra is kind of like, oh dear, oh God, look at this fucking guy. He played Beethoven's Fifth, first chair on guitar with this full orchestra from top to bottom, no fucking paper in front of him, didn't blow a note. At the end of that thing, every musician in there were like in line waiting to talk to him and praise this guy.
That's cool.
So
That's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? Oh, it was just, it's out there, CD.
Yeah,
yep. It's unreal, man. It's That's like, cool. Just, anyway.
That's
As
awesome,
you can tell,
man.
I have a deep love for Yngwie, man.
No, that's cool.
You mentioned
that's cool.
You mentioned Al Di Meola. Did you do anything for Al?
So, I got the strangest situation ever. So let's see. When I did that record, like when I was doing Eclipse, that had to be 85, 86.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
And I was in Florida. I went there and stayed for 3 months to work on it, maybe more. And I ended up at a lunch. Well, first I got to meet Al Di Meola with Yngwie somewhere. Then one day we went out to lunch, and it was Yngwie Malmsteen, Al Di Meola, and Jimmy Page, and me. I couldn't really talk. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, if back in Vegas would ever believe me if I tell them this story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're not believing you now.
Neither do I.
Right?
Mean, really, it's like, how the hell?
Pictures or it didn't happen.
We didn't have cell phones back then.
No shit.
Right. Like that.
Thank God.
I wish.
Thank God.
Yeah, but that too. Just weird, crazy situations like that, man.
So you meet Al Di Meola. Now, did you end up collaborating and working on something for him? Or?
No, I never did. I just got to, talk to him and see him in different places and be able to just. Look, I grew up a Return to Forever freak. Okay, Romantic Warrior. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All of that shit, man. It was like, I think I wore that record out 3 times. So, no, it was special in that way. And of course, being a complete fanatic.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And years later, I ended up doing a Carl Anderson record with Al McKay from Earth, Wind and Fire. And fucking Stanley Clarke was the bass player in one of the tunes, and I ended up sitting in the control room with just me and Stanley. I was like, God.
Oh, wow.
When I was a kid, no one could have ever convinced me any of this shit would happen,
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows, just, and by the way, Stanley was the nicest guy ever. I fanned out on him for a minute and had to ask about, Romantic Warrior. And he laughed. He was like, oh, my God, we punched that record bar by bar. It was the greatest thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so we are doing this shit right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can you imagine, and I say this a lot in retrospect to then versus today, can you imagine if you had the resources then, like Pro Tools, like some of the stuff that we have today? Can you imagine what could have been? I now, because I love Pro Tools, obviously. Who doesn't? I don't even know. When I think about some of the records that we made back then before Pro Tools, I don't know how we did it. Right.
I don't know if I would be able to do it today like I did back then. I mean, I remember days at the Manor having pieces of tape hanging all the way around the room. And Steve going, you know what? Let's do that B tape, the C section, and put that in between A and C.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how we did it.
Yeah. People don't realize razor blade and tape. Dude.
Razor blade and tape.
Yeah. My first thing in journalism, broadcast journalism, I went for
grease pencils, of course.
Grease pencil.
Yes.
And then in the diagonal cut on the tape, and you're like, that was editing. There was no I'm going to click here, get rid of that. You know what? I'm going to take the background noise out of this. I'm going to raise up none of that shit.
No, you were committed. And I'll tell you, that something I learned about stuff, because a friend of mine used to transfer the tapes from the studios to the vaults. And he used to call me. I had the keys to Salty Dog Recording Studio, David Coast Place. And he'd call me and go, dude, meet me at the studio right now. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, what's going on? He's like, just meet me at the studio. And he had the masters to Van Halen.
Jeez.
I mean, all kinds of Crystal Gale, Devo. And, I'm 24 years old. I'm still learning everything. We put up those Van Halen tapes, which was the Women and Children record.
Okay.
It was the tune, yes. Right? So, first off, I'm having a blast doing my own mix, right? Fuck, who could have more fun than that? But what I learned was I'm listening to Eddie's tracks, and whenever Eddie wasn't playing, it sounded like a fucking jet engine taking off.
Right.
It's like, and so, that was on one of the outtakes, and I went to the master and saw how they edit clean all the noise shit out of there. But it was a great lesson for me in the fact that we always try to make your amp so clean before you record, it's too noisy. I was like, after that day, I was like, fuck that. It doesn't matter how noisy your amp is. It depends on how it sounds when you're playing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not when you're not. If it's making a noise like a jet engine, it doesn't matter if it sounds good when you're playing it.
Right. Yeah. If it sounds noisy when you're not, we'll just cut that out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good paper leader, right? You cut the tape, put a piece of paper leader in, and then it would erase until it hit the paper and hit stop.
Right. Dude,
I mean, you think about back then and what took months to record an album now takes 3 weeks, if that.
But you know what? I'm going to disagree with you on one thing. And for a minute, that was true.
Right.
But now nobody commits anymore.
Right.
Like if I had 3 microphones on an amplifier back then, I committed it to one track. I got the blend I like, sounded good in the song, commit. Right. Now I get a fucking guitar amp that had 3 mics on it, and they're all on 3 separate tracks.
Right, right.
So you ended up with these like 120 tracks when somebody sends you their record to mix. It's like, well, what blend did you like when you did this? Because I mean, so it actually can make a record take longer because everybody can perfect everything so much. You don't just go, that's it, there it is, let's move on. So
I guess I didn't really think about that part of it, but yeah.
But
it's all right.
Here's the other fucked up part. Here's the other fucked up part. These guys, one guy's doing the guitar tracks from Nashville, the other guy's doing just the drum tracks from New York City.
That's right. Yeah.
You're not playing off each other. You're not vibing with each other, looking over and
in
going,
the studio,
or something that gets fucked up, which actually turns out to be brilliant, and you're like, wait a minute, do that again.
The best thing.
Yeah.
Instead, they fix it before they send it.
Collaborating, and now it's too fucking clean.
All about. I did an interview for Paul Revere Jr. years ago, and he had asked me, "What do you think the secret of making a hit song or whatever is?" That first off, don't try to make a hit song. Is that your first mistake? But what I did and told him and got into great detail was I think the thing that's missing is collaboration.
Yeah.
We all used to sit in a room together and work things out. Even if you didn't track it at the same time, you all sat in there playing it until you went, yeah, that's it. Let's put that bass in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all about, them screwing up and doing so. Oh, that was cool. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, well, let's learn that because that was the shit right there.
Right.
That's missing.
And sometimes fatigue isn't a bad thing.
Correct.
You've got a drummer that's been rushing that fucking metronome all day. Now it's 3 a.m. and he's beat the shit, and you're going, finally, he's slowing down.
Do it again.
But you know what, though? I do appreciate Pro Tools. Oh, I wanted to share something real quick on the editing thing with you.
Absolutely.
You used to cut tape. And this is about Keith Olsen, God rest his soul. I was very lucky and got to work for Keith for about 3 years. And I actually, after working for Keith is when I got the gig to produce Yngwie. And I left Keith going, I'll do anybody, because he was such a wealth of information. But this is a very funny story. Billy Sherwood and I we did this record called his band was called World Trade. If you ever get a chance, look it up. It's the first World Trade record. It's fucking killer to this day. But it was back in the days of tape. We had done a mix to 2-track half-inch. And I learned everything over pretty much at the Manor with all those engineers over there and stuff. We were very meticulous. And I remember I had marked the spot that I wanted to cut in and then marked the spot, but I was marking it and I was going,
yeah.
Marked it. Went to the back, Keith walks in. What the fuck are you doing? We're editing, man. We thought maybe it'd be better if this verse was half as long so we get to the chorus quicker. And he's like, that's great. But why are you doing that? It's like, well, I want to make it perfect. He walks over, grabs the pencil, the grease pencil, says, let me ask you something. What are you running at? 30 inches per second. He says, okay, so how much tape goes by in a second? 30 inches of tape. And he's like, right. He goes, okay, here's how you do this. And he rolls the tape, and as it's coming up, he goes, where do you want to get in at? I said, right, 3, 2. And as the tape's rolling and he's talking to me, he just goes, wham, hit the tape. Didn't stop it, just let it keep rolling. It's like, where did you want to get out? Coming up, 2, 1. Wham, he just marked it like as the tape's rolling. Stops the tape, grabs it, took the front part, cut it, back part, cut it together, played it. It was flawless. I was like, wait a second. You mean I've been wasting all my time doing that?
Right.
And I edited. I remember taking that back over to a few places and doing it, and them going, what are you doing? Because I didn't say anything. I just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah.
As the 2-inch tape's rolling by, and it was like, so what? You want to get in here? Wham, and marked it. To the end, it's like, you want to get out there? Okay, great. And I'm cut. They're all shit and going, what are you doing, dude? That's the master. It's like, oh, don't sweat it. Comes together.
This.
It's perfect. Yeah.
You got this?
Because after Keith explained it, he got this place.
Yeah, that's
that
one.
work,
This is 1 second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anywhere in there is going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
See, I wish I knew that years ago.
Yeah, no kidding.
I couldn't help but think about that when we were talking about editing.
Well,
Keith was a very talented wealth of information and one of the most fun guys ever.
That's awesome.
So you're doing the recordings and everything. At what point do you go out live and you're doing the tour?
Well, when I was so I have to go back to Vegas again. Sorry, back when I was a kid. Because of my parents being in the, and we had gone on tours with them where we had to, sit in the back of the car and go everywhere with them. But I always looked at live desks. I always saw the monitor desk and stuff. So I kind of learned that. And when I was a kid in Vegas, a friend of ours owned a place called DB Sound. And he had a Carvin console with the Carvin PA. Nice. Do you remember that shit back then?
I do. Yep. Yeah.
And
bulletproof.
I was 12 or 13, and I would mix all my friends' bands. We'd play all the school parties and the desert parties up at Red Rock or out at the Dry Lakes. And I would have the Carvin desk with that Carvin PA system, and I would be mixing. Before I ever got into the studio, I was mixing the live shows, man. I was out there, just looked like a 10-year-old out there. But I started there before the studio,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and that kind of translated to the studio for me. And I just never stopped doing both. I still, to this day, love, back early in the career, like with Logic, I record the record, and then when it's time to go out tour, I mix house. And because Eddie Offord was one of my favorite guys ever, still is. Hugh Padgham, same thing. Those guys, like Eddie, recorded Yes, Fragile,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'd go out and mix the two. I was like, I'd see Yes, and there was Eddie Offord at the desk, and I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to be that guy. Hugh Padgham, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that was what I wanted to do. So I've always done both. I really don't see any difference in either of them. The whole point is to get a good balance, a good EQ, and make, have a great blend.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're knobs and dials. Turn them till it sounds good.
Right.
Thank you, Keith.
There you go.
Yeah. Boy, I'd love to have you teach a couple people around here.
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be fantastic.
I'd love to. Whenever I do stuff like that, I always tell them, first thing I'm going to tell you is everything I'm going to show you is the wrong thing to do, but it works. You know?
Right.
That's basically the long and the short.
Give us a fuck up moment. Give like the one moment that was like, oh, I totally screwed the pooch. You know.
Okay, so didn't screw the pooch, but damn close. Gonna do Paul Rogers, Muddy Waters tribute record.
Mm-hmm.
At 1-on-1, and I'm nervous as hell because to me, Paul Rogers is one of the finest rock singers that's ever fucking lived.
Hell yes!
Right? I mean,
that guy could sing. That guy could sing the phone book, and I'd listen.
Dude,
you know,
ridiculous, right? So before he gets there, Billy Sherwood and I did the record together. Billy was really the main producer on it. I co-produced, engineered, and mixed it with him. But Billy's playing producer and out there talking to Phil Carson and stuff. And I'm in getting ready. So I set up every microphone they had at 251 C12, everything, 67, 87. I had them all in this beautiful half, shoe arc, right? Paul comes in, meet him, lovely, beautiful guy. And I said, Paul, I was kind of curious as to which mic's going to sound the best on you. So I set all these up, and I just wondered if you wouldn't mind. We'll just do like a verse or a chorus. And just let me see which one of these is going to be the best for us, right? So Paul's like, yeah, okay, sure. Let's go in the room, sing a verse and a chorus. It's like, okay, let's do the next one, verse and a chorus. So we did this for like 40 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Every mic sounded like shit. It didn't sound like Paul Rogers.
Right.
I was just like, I mean, yeah, he sounds good. He's fucking Paul. But it didn't sound like that Paul Rogers we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he's like, hey, man, let me come in. I want to hear. I'm in there looking at Billy going, Billy, I think I'm about to get fired. I'm out of this. Paul comes in, literally took time to listen to each microphone with me, said, what do you think? And I said, Paul, I don't know what's wrong, man. I said, it's just not, I don't know. Something's just not right. And he goes, Tom, I'm going to share something with you. I've never sung into anything but an SM57 live or studio in my life.
Oh, wow.
I put the 57 up. He sang 5 words, and it was like, oh,
there it is.
There's Paul.
Yep, there it is.
And the rest of that record, I think we punched 6 words. He got all the takes live with Jason and Pino and those guys all playing. As always at the end of the take, they're like, Jason, don't fuck this up. Paul just nailed the shit out of that.
You know, there's something to be said about
that's like
consistency.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And something to be said about Sure.
Yeah.
Because the 57 and the 58, those 2 fucking microphones have recorded everything.
More hit records than any single microphone on the planet.
Yep.
And it's like when I switched my live mic from the 57 wireless to the Sennheiser, I almost felt like I was cheating on a girlfriend. It's like, and I didn't have an endorsement, but the only reason I switched to Sennheiser, because Sennheiser, when it came to wireless, I could go anywhere in the club and it was bulletproof. Where the Shure, if I walked over here and he's playing wireless with his guitar, something's going to get fucked up.
Cross signals starting.
Yeah, we were going to totally pull a Spinal Tap on that one, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. After that, a lot of vocals I've done, whether I put an 87, 251, whatever, I'll put the 57 right next to it. And I record them both. Because that 57 it brings a reality to it that just can't be, it can't be that. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Anyway,
so I'm sure for our listeners that are singers, that are backing singers, just
anybody,
do yourself a favor, spend a little money, get a 57. If it's if you're doing a wireless, do the Beta 57. It doesn't matter. Just make sure.
I even like those too.
I like the Beta 57. I've got 2 of them in my gig bag just as backups. I mean, because you can't trust the PA guy.
No.
To have, he's like, well, I'm going to try these new mic. No, you got him on fucking Team U and it's spelled. It's not spelled the same.
Right.
We were looking for new mics. We were looking for new mics ourselves for the studio here, and I'm like, that can't be a fucking Shure. That's not the Shure SM whatever 7 or whatever. That's not a podcast mic. What the fuck? And and they spelled it different.
Yeah.
There's no E.
Wow.
They put SHUR. That's it. Same model number.
I bought a couple of the 87s off the team just as a laugh.
Yeah.
They sound fucking great. Besides the fact we tore it apart and it's all the same in guts inside.
No.
So
oh wow.
I'm not even going to go down that road, but that's also
Look at you.
said. Yeah.
Wheels are turning.
Dude, those microphones are like 180 versus 480.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 1,000.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
how
it's worth a shot to try one.
Hey,
so you pencil in an E at the end.
Right?
Well,
so you pencil in an E at the end and be done.
All
with
I
it.
know is there's nothing better than Ultimate Ears, ladies and gentlemen. Ultimate Ears.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
Sponsored by Ultimate Ears, the Ultimate Ears Studios. You can hear your own tears
with Ultimate Ears.
Known those guys for a long time. Yes, indeed.
Great guys, and definitely
did a few times.
Took very good care of the show and made us endorsed artists and
that's sweet
and ruffled some serious feathers when when they sent me the UE lives and the guys from a couple different camps are like, what the fuck? I only got the 7s. I'm like, oh,
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're a drummer, dude. That's all you get.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. You don't need 21 drivers as a drummer.
It's funny because I've had a few of those issues. You know, when you're going to do a singer who's very well known, and people are used to hearing that voice a certain way, you get very nervous when you're about to record them. You're like, God, I hope I make this. Ozzy, same thing. I remember the first time I recorded Ozzy, we did this vocal, and I was like, man, maybe it's a 3000 chorus I should be using, or like that. And I remember him looking through there and said, hey, Tom, mate, I always usually just double myself straight away. And I was like, oh, okay. Man, as soon as he doubled it, it was fucking Ozzy, man. It was like, I actually was in tears, like, oh my God, there he is. As I live in
right in front of me.
Look, we didn't even need to ask the question.
I know.
That's a moment. Again, that is like a moment to work with some of the greatest people in the industry.
I don't know how that's happened. I look back at the discography and wonder who made all those fucking.
Why, it was you.
You know what, Tom? I know you're not used to doing the podcasting, but give yourself a fucking pat on the back because you've done some great shit.
Yes.
Oh man, thank you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And
I appreciate that.
And I think honestly, one of my favorite live albums was the Doc and Live at the Sun.
Wow, nice. You're the guy. No,
I am the one.
He's the guy.
I'm the one.
That's awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was interesting, man. I love, man, Jeff Pilson. Fucking love Jeff. All those guys. I even love Don. Don's an interesting cat, but I love him,
Yeah.
That was the first. I did a race.
I think that was the first live album with Reb Beach too.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I did the first record with Reb Beach, which was Erase Slate.
Yes, Erase Slate. Another great album too.
Crazy.
That title track is just mind blowing.
I don't know why I'm still so amazed when someone mentions a record that I've done. Like, wow, you know about that?
Yeah.
It's still weird.
Tom,
it's all good, man.
Tom, he is a fucking music encyclopedia.
Nice.
Geek, total geek.
I'm his Eddie Trunk.
You and Mike Varney would get along very well.
Well, it's funny you mention that because Mike, we're trying
to get him.
We've been back and forth with Mike to do the show.
Yeah.
Again through Tortora.
I'll tell him tonight. I love Mike. I talk to him all the time.
Great guy.
Varney.
Now there's a story too.
Yeah.
There's like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. Oh, I don't? Watch me.
Watch this.
Watch me set the fucking music industry on its ass. What a 22 or 23-year-old kid going,
Yep.
Dude, man, have you heard Mike play guitar?
No.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, didn't know that.
Like you would, outstanding.
No, really?
He's
okay.
a great guitar player, man.
That's awesome.
I mean, he can play. He is not messing around.
And he's always, Tortora says, you're going to get an email or text message from him at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Our time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so 7 o'clock. He's like, yeah, 3, 4, 5. He doesn't sleep. He's always doing something.
Yep.
He goes, don't be surprised if all of a sudden your shit blows up in the middle of the night. Sure enough, he's responsive.
He's a night owl.
You know,
he's a total night owl.
For people who don't know, Mike Varney is the original creator of Shrapnel Records. So
absolutely,
yeah.
And if you don't know who Shrapnel Records is, you know.
Better take a look.
The history of fucking metal.
Then you weren't into guitar players if you don't know who Shrapnel.
Right, correct, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he created. I mean, it was because of him that some of the fucking monsters of heavy metal, just the Shredders.
Yes.
He was. That's the Shredders. That's where he came. I mean, fucking guy's incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
Mike, he paid my mortgage many times. Nothing.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, right.
Yes, indeed. Still love him. Yeah.
But like we've mentioned before with Jeff spoke so highly of you.
Yes.
He's like, you got to have him on the show. Yep. He doesn't do podcasts, and he said, I think he'll really have fun doing it with you guys. So
nice, yeah.
We don't.
Jeff is one of my favorite drummers ever,
dude.
I'll tell you what. They came here to play with He came here.
He's coming. He'll be here Saturday,
right? But he came here last year. Played with the Femmes of Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Mike and I were watching him, and when he got done, now this is the first time I've met him face to face. And I look at him and I go, you know, with a couple more lessons, you'd be fantastic.
Yeah, 2 more lessons, and I think you're going to really.
I think you got it.
You're going to go someplace.
No, I always say to him, man, when you learn how to play, you're going to be a motherfucker.
Awesome.
Here's what I say. Here's how I feel good about myself. I played in a band that Jeff replaced me as the drummer.
Oh, wow.
So I go, so does that mean that could have been me? Well, absolutely not.
Yeah, nope.
Not. But I'm going to tell myself, hey, I was just, a couple good shows behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's like Animal. You know
he is.
I mean?
Yeah.
Now, he's a human version of Animal.
He is a drummer version of what we were talking about before with Buck Owens and B.B. King. And just make it look effortless.
Yep. And just the energy that comes out with every performance. Dude. It's just like, God, it's just.
But then you talk to him as
just a
he's
person.
The coolest fucking dude. Humble as anything. And any of those guys in Danny Coker's band, any of those guys are the most humble, just
seriously
salt of the earth, great freaking people.
Barry's one of the best bass players.
Oh,
the whole band is just the whole. And Johnny is a monster. He plays all those cats.
Yeah.
Tony, Tommy, love Tommy.
Yeah.
Man, I've been very lucky to get to her. I was doing a show over at Ron's place, some jam thing, and Danny just showed up to sing on one song. And from that day forward, I remember Danny because we both went to Valley High School. I was 3 years ahead of him. And I remember this skinny little tall guy walking through. That's all I remember him from back then.
Did he have a bandana on his? Was he wearing the do-rag bandana thing?
Not back then. That hadn't come about yet. No. But I've been working with them ever since. I've been doing live shows with them. We went and did a show at the Whiskey that was just the bomb. They just killed it.
I saw.
And Stoney
clips.
speaks for himself. Oh, were you there?
I saw clips of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stoney, man. I'm not quite sure why he's not world famous yet, but I'm sure it's coming soon.
I have been trying to get him to. I'm talking to club owners here. I'm like, he's not going to charge you an arm and a leg. Get him out here. Let people start because he will fucking crush it.
Yeah.
People, they're hungry for something new, and he's
the man.
Oh, dude,
he's fantastic,
dude.
Man.
I mean, he is to the blues.
Oh.
Humble and great player, just like what Joe Holkstra, I would say, Joel Holkstrot, another.
Oh.
Wouldn't say a bad word about anybody, and is so down to earth and just a cool frickin' dude.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. That's that whole band. Count 77. That's all of them.
Yeah.
The whole band.
Yep.
Yeah, I really love those guys, and I love working with them. It's just such a group.
Yeah, I'm excited to get out there, and because Jeff and I were just talking. What was last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting we did an episode with Jeff last night.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because they're playing. Jeff is flying out here Wednesday, and they do a disco. The Booty Foundation.
The United Booty Foundation.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they do a disco thing, but then he gets up and does some.
Next time you see
typo negative.
Next time you see him, call him Starsky.
Dude, he gets up and does that rage and shit. It's just I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know.
with the sequined silver the disco ball shirt.
Disco ball shirt.
Yeah.
So great.
So he's coming in, and then Randy Wooten's going to be here to play drums for him.
Yeah.
Another great
great guy.
Yeah. Friend of the show.
Yep.
So
that's killer.
And they did 800 people last time, so they'll do more. I mean, this venue holds between 800 to 1,000, and they were at capacity.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to come out and mix a show in there.
Well, come on out.
Come on out, dude.
If you can get here by Saturday, come on out.
Yeah.
A little booked at the moment, but
See?
I am definitely coming out to do something back there with Count 77. I don't know what the date or the show is, but I know that Stoney brought it up to me. So
out to Syracuse?
No, I just in that somewhere. I don't know.
Around this area somewhere. Okay.
Is it Sturgeon or something like that?
Oh, Sturgis.
Sturgis.
Yeah,
Sturgis.
That's it.
That?
That's Full Throttle Saloon. That's the bike rally that has 65,000 bikes.
Yep.
And up. Actually, it's almost 1 million bikers.
Yep.
There's 1 million people.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
1 week a year.
Yep.
That's it. That club that they're playing at, it's open for 1 week, and then it closes the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they make enough money
in that one week.
1 week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Usually they play 2 shows, I think. I think they opened for Jackal one night.
Yeah.
And then, which
boy, can I get that gig for 1 week a year?
I know, right?
Dude, you better flush your liver if that's what you do, because
that is no lie.
Yeah.
Because at the end of that week, you're going to wish you had a spare.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why Totora doesn't drink.
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't either. I do not do the alcohol thing, but
neither do I.
To each his own. Never, whatever blows your skirt up.
Yeah.
I think back in the 80s we did enough shit to tell our
yeah,
bodies, maybe we should stop now.
Never did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, we're reaching the how about those Dodgers part of the conversation.
That's not talcum powder.
Right.
Oh, shit. Dude.
Tom, we've had a blast, brother.
I mean, this has gone by so freaking quick.
It has. It's gone by quick. So.
I'm so pissed that it's been an hour already.
That's all right. We'll get
Has it really?
It has.
Jesus, we didn't even scratch the surface. We have to do this more.
Well,
all right.
We're not going to have you leave. We're going to roll out with our credits, but then we're going to get right back on the calendar so the rest of you guys can hear the rest of Tom's story. And hopefully he'll be able to tell us the stories about Sturgis.
Right.
If he comes back.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
Are you married? Are you married, Tom?
No, sir. I'm married.
He may come back. He may come back married.
Oh, all right.
Now that would be great. If my wife is there, please tell her I'm on my way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And so, just for those of you listening,
special invitations.
He's a pretty important dude.
He is.
You know who we need to ask?
No.
I really appreciate doing this with you guys, and anybody listening, thank you. Love you very much,
dude. You are a friend of the show. You're now part of our family, and anything we can do to help promote any of your projects that you want to get out there, get the word out.
You let us know.
I have some amazing things coming up that I would love to share with you.
Tell us,
I promise you'll go, holy crap.
Can you give us two right now?
Give us two right now.
Well, I'm working on a new record with Dario, who's from Black Label Society.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And his music is so good. It freaks me out. It's so damn good. And I just got turned on to a new, I hope they don't get mad for me mentioning them already, but there's a band called Bonsai.
Okay.
And it's like a mix of reggae that meets Green Day. And it's so badass. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to start mixing it this week, actually.
Cool.
Are you growing the dreadlocks just for that, or?
Yeah, no, this has just been the hippie thing I've done all my life. So, yeah.
Didn't you do some with?
Actually,
didn't you do something with what's his name? Was it Neil Sean's kid?
I'm actually, yes, I'm working with Miles as we speak.
Miles, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a talented mother right there.
See?
That kid.
Takes after the old man, does he?
Yeah, let's definitely say the apple didn't fall far from that tree.
All right.
Or is his tree getting bigger?
Bigger, right.
Yeah, man, let me just tell you, Miles, yeah, I'm not going to say too much. I'll get myself in trouble. But
that's cool.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
he's a great songwriter, great player.
We have found that some of the younger kids coming up nowadays, Taj Farrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That
and
kid
look
is.
at Trevor. Trevor's a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, little Luke is just. I remember when he came home, in the car in the basket.
Right.
Now he's in his 30s and he's a badass. Oh my God! I mean, goes so fast.
Because we're old.
We're old.
We're old, Tom.
Yep.
Yeah, we are. Hey, you know what? We're still having fun though, right?
Yeah, brother.
That's right.
Yep.
And you will meet your wife at Sturgis.
I really look forward to getting out there and hanging out with you guys. Or if you come out this way, please, you're welcome at my studio anytime.
That's awesome. I hope you have a
you.
spare cot because, that's where.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be.
Hey, you know what else? There's another guy I'd love for you to look at.
Okay.
I made the most outrageous record. I feel like it's one of the best records I ever made in my whole life, and no one's ever heard it. And his name is John Spicer. Just like the Spice. He is a tele guitar playing fool that you will not believe. He sings his ass off, writes his ass off. I did a record with him called Crossing Over, which really you can only find it on like YouTube and stuff these days. But if you get a chance, have a listen to that, especially a song called Long Way Home. It's just, I want people to know who John is because he deserves it.
Right.
Well, then I think reach out and tell me what day he wants to be on, and we will have him on the show.
Yeah.
He's not far from you guys.
Really?
Oh, really?
Great. Yeah. He's not that far. He's Patoka, Illinois.
Okay.
We found this kid on a cornfield.
I mean,
he is probably one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. So
awesome.
Geez.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Man, we got to do this again. There's a lot of ground to cover.
Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere. We're gonna roll out with our credits.
I'll hang up. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Leave that camera on.
Okay.
Just stay right there.
All right, I'm staying right there.
I know he's a podcast newbie. I don't want.
I know.
I don't want. Also,
Don't
he's
go
like,
anywhere.
they stopped talking to me. So
Right. What the hell? I'm leaving.
Sound engineer.
Damn it.
Holy shit! What a great show. You've been listening to The Good.
The Band.
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
I'm Jeff, and that is
Tom Fletcher. Ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we want to thank our friends at, and I know we've mentioned it, Ultimate Ears.
Yep.
Hear your own tears at Ultimate Ears. Hawk Medical Supply, Sharky's Event Center.
DJ Life's the Beach, Good Nature Brewery.
Uncle Jimmy's Local Live Music.
The Print Shop Underground.
Snarky Productions.
And Toffee Break Toffee.
Don't forget that Toffee Break Toffee.
No, sir.
Did we say Print Shop Underground?
We did.
Where's our fucking shirts?
Yeah.
That's all we're going to say.
Yeah. Where are they?
My God, look who I look like when I did that. They're the best shirts, the most wonderful shirts, the best shirts.
Just for you.
Anyways, remember, speaking of which,
hey, man, be good to each other.
Don't be dicks. Peace. Don't say it, Jeff.
Recording stop.
You're such a dick.
I love it.
Man,
Recording
that was a blast,
stopped.
you guys.